guys, welcome back to Everyday Struggle. It is Thursday, Friday.
Oh man, the first week's hardest.
First week of what?
The first week we come back from a little break.
Yeah.
It's the hardest to adjust, you know, sleep times, this and third. But we're back.
We're about to go on a very long break. Have you told them that?
It's
right?
we're gonna be gone for a little minute.
And listen, if you ask me, I want to be here every day. But just to let the audience know, listen, there is like holidays. Like people got to take a little bit of break. Like there's no show that just runs every single day. And also for hip hop that, you know, sometimes it's hot and cold. Y'all got to give us credit for at least like 85% of the time we're on. Okay? Like there's mad people that they're
we don't
on
have
once a
like
week or
load management. Like we're not like Kawhi Leonard sitting out of games and shit.
Yeah, like you know, like listen, we're gonna kind of the industry kind of dies out in December,
right.
100%.
and it kind of takes a while to ramp up in January. We'll be back when shit start getting lit.
We'll be back.
Unless Big Soulja always does his normal January shenanigans.
Stop playing.
So that'll be after MLK Day. So I believe that's January 21st. So we're here next week. The Everyday Struggle Awards are coming up really soon. We're about to film that. That's going to be our last episode of the year. And yeah, we're off for a month. We're going to miss you guys, but we definitely hope you enjoy your holidays.
You won't be on Twitter?
I'll be on Twitter.
You won't be on Twitter? You're not gonna be.
Never on Twitter.
I'll be in Axe Mentions. You can find me at comment
I'll be in
section,
Africa. I'll be
arguing with people.
safaring and exploring and adventuring. Yeah.
How come we
I'm
never
good
get
on the
invited to
internet.
these?
Why would I invite you anywhere?
Yeah, I won't
Just
go.
don't get out the car.
We'll go to
Just don't get out
Don't
the
get out the
car.
car.
Where you go to Nigeria? Like the real safari? Like
No,
you want to see tigers and
Tanzania
like rhinos?
and then South Africa.
All right, man. You want to explore, motherfucker? Okay.
All right, so let's start with a little bit of nostalgia today. This one is really this is the Wayno episode, I suppose. This week in hip hop, Gucci dropped the State versus Radric Davis. So that's 10 years ago, which is crazy. His sixth studio album, December 8th, 2009. 20 tracks, features from Usher, Plies, Wayne, Cam, Rick Ross, and more. Production from people like Manny Fresh, Drummer Boy, and Polo the Don. Now, of course, the big singles for this were Lemonade, Wasted with Plies, Spotlight with Usher, and Bingo. It's a number 10 debut for Gucci, sold about 90,000 in his first week. We know you love this album.
Yes, I do. This is my favorite Gucci album. You know what's really interesting about this, and I wanted to pass it to Ak really quick. Ak, look at 2009, right? 90,000 the first week is a number 10 debut, right? Isn't that kind of crazy how sales is now? Because 90,000 first week now is usually like a number one album.
Yeah, like sales has kind of declined in a way, but shit, I remember even back then, like in 2009, you looked at 90,000, like because in 2000 or like 2000, like even 2 or 3, like 90,000 may be like 20, top 20. You get me?
Less than that.
Yeah. So with just seeing that, you can see how like sales have transformed.
Yeah.
But I remember this album mostly for the singles. You know, I feel commercially this was the best presented, or was there another Gucci album?
This one was the singles. Yeah, Lemonade.
Yeah. This was the one that like, even if you weren't a Gucci Man fan that was checking out all the tapes because he drops like every 2 days, like you saw these songs bubble up. Wasted was one of the songs that just kind of,
Wasted was a big joint.
It even took new life when Wayne got on it.
Right.
You know, like so again, and Wayne did his own version outside of the feature. So
You know, my favorite songs, 2 of my favorite songs on here is not singles. One is Volume, with Woo the Kid, and the other one is Gingerbread Man with OJ the Juice Man. And then, you know, he had Mike Epps on here doing the skits. Like this is my favorite, like, Gucci album. Me personally, I feel like he dropped a lot of dope tapes after this, but as far as albums, I don't think he's ever got to this level on.
So you revisit this album, like if you were to go back?
I mean, every now and then, I'm not gonna sit here in front like I be playing this shit every month or every day, but like I could always go back to this and listen to this start to finish.
is this around the time when he did the record with Mariah Carey?
I think so, a little
Obsessed?
bit. No, was that after he came home? It was around this time?
I think this is around that time. Like, I just remember commercially, he had that joint going. Then the Streets was fucking with Wasted.
Yeah.
And then he had Lemonade, which also go
big.
crazy.
Yeah,
in the
you're right.
streets.
Around
like,
2009.
Yeah, yes.
And then before this was I think the Bird Print mixtape had came before this.
Like, it's probably the peak. You know, of course, he's having new life in terms of, like, just the rebrand and everything now. But this is the peak of Gucci's, like, commercial music career right here. And, you know, like, I think it's well-deserved if you think about all the projects he dropped before.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, like, what he said he dropped 100, how many projects is it?
I feel like it was 100 when he was up here, so it should be at least 101.
I think it's 101.
100, and we always talk about quality versus quantity, which I do think Gucci has a lot of like songs that you like, but I think like this is his best out of that 101 projects he's dropped.
This was dropped through what label?
Atlantic,
right?
I think this was Atlantic, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
it sounded Atlantic for a while.
Yeah. But like some of them other tips, I feel like he was just dropping them like by himself because like they didn't have like this type of setup.
Yeah,
it wasn't like this kind of curation and like A&R. It's just kind of like, man, just throw out these like 10 songs or 12 songs you got.
And this kind of was around the time of like them really birthing the whole Brick Squad shit, because then Waka comes with Flockavelli like 2 years later. I think it's 2011. Like Flockavelli comes like after that.
Definitely. And I forgot your top 3 or like whatever top Gucci albums, but is this even in the realm of possibility of being a classic?
Yeah, for me, hell yeah. I won't dispute that. Like this, so my favorite joints from Gucci, I always remember them as this. I say Birdprint and Free Bricks with Future. But then I like the movie, the movie mixtape that he had did with Drama, you know what I mean, the Gangsta Grills. And he had another mixtape, the Wilt Chamberlain joint was hard too. But those like my top 3. This is definitely like number 1 for me with Gucci.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw in the classic pot just because of how I hear Gucci talk about legends and legendary. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, Gucci, his thing has always been like, he don't really give a fuck about the niggas who could just rhyme the best. He cares about the people who just really did it. You know what I mean? So, off of that, man.
Off of that, that's it.
All right, happy 10-year anniversary to Gucci.
Word.
Let's go back 5 years further. So this is when Cameron dropped Purple Haze. That was 15 years ago, December 7, 2004. That was his 4th studio album. Of course, Dipset was featured on here. Mm-hmm. Kanye handled some of the production along with Heatmakers and more big singles. Get 'Em Girls, Lord You Know, Down and Out. So this was a number 20 debut, but it sold 123,000 first week, 2004.
And was the 20th debut, 123. That's crazy. But story time. Now I got like just one of the records. Get 'Em Girls was originally Jim Jones' beat. Get 'Em Girls was originally Jim Jones' beat. He actually, when I was working at Rockefeller, he did a song to it in my office. Like Jim used to have like, he would set up his MacBook and he have a mic and shit, and he would put a jacket over his head and make it a booth. And we just rap.
Himself?
Yes, he used to record himself.
That's amazing. Would you just a
in
jacket?
2004?
2000. Well, the Get 'Em Girls beat, they got it from Schizo in like 03. I think it was like 03 they got it, but like Cam heard the beat and got the beat from Jim. But like Jim recorded a song to that in my office. Like he literally put the coat over his head around the booth and was just rapping, and he knew how to record himself.
I'm impressed that I think now, like, you know, I think mad artists are like self-sufficient. They just cop a couple things from Guitar Center, and you know that's the cheap way of like studio prices could be hefty. Yeah. Like so to know like back then, you know, when shit, you know, everybody's going to these big studios, even if they're recording bullshit. Yeah. That he was recording, so that's dope.
Yeah, but this album, I mean, like Purple Haze, that's his 2nd album when he was on Rockefeller. I think he only dropped 2 on Rockefeller, not including the Diplomatic Community album. But like Purple Haze, this is definitely a classic for me, for Cam. You know, my favorite song off of his Reasons. Lord You Know, remember that joint with him and Jaheim? Then Down and Out. Even Down and Out, like, yo, Cam had, a lot of people don't know, Down and Out song with Kanye, he had that song since when he recorded Come Home With Me. But Kanye wasn't on it. He had a whole different hook on it and shit, you know what I mean? But he changed it. But this is definitely another one for the books. Like, Purple Haze 2 is actually coming out this month on the 20th.
It is?
Yeah, he's dropping Purple Haze too.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie, like I feel like Cam almost like invented swag when it came to the rap game. Yo, this is my top. This is a top three Cam album for me.
Okay.
Number one is Don't Even Look at Me Crazy, Wayno.
I'm about to look at you crazy.
Stellar nigga. Listen. My Cam history is.
If you don't, all right, it's only one album I want to hear you have in your top 3 from Cam. If you don't have it, I gotta question everything about you.
If you don't agree with the top one, I gotta question everything about you.
Okay, go ahead.
SDE.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Akademiks. No, I ain't gonna lie, my nigga, you had me scared. You really had me scared, bro. I'm not gonna lie. He had me terrified. If he did not say SDE in the first 3, I was going to fucking walk off the side.
Everything.
SDE.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go with Come Home With Me. Okay. Then I'm going with Purple Haze.
Damn, Akademiks.
You have the same ranking?
Right. Yo, I'm a huge Cam fan. Cam, please come up here.
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, listen, like the game, I couldn't, you remember when you said the game came on Campus Con? Like, this is someone who I like grew up on, even before I even got into like, really being a voice in the culture. Like, I was listening so much that I had a million questions. Cam is another nigga I got like a million questions.
I think I told y'all about the Cameron's Livingston story, right? I never told y'all about that?
No, you did.
Yeah,
You did.
So Cam used to walk around in disguise. He used to walk around with the Jamaican hat with the dreads, like the long dreads, and he used to call himself Livingston.
That's amazing.
Bro. Yo, but telling people he's not Cameron with the big ass dipset chain on, like, you know what I mean? But this
Cam's a character.
The thing about Cam's music is that like I kind of equate Cam to like a '90s ball player. Like Cam played in a lot of different eras. Like think about it. He came in the '90s. His first album came out like '98, I think. Where he had 357. He was right on the heels of Mace. Cam was in the early 2000s. He played in the mid 2000s too, and even till like when he dropped Crown Pay was like what 2009. It's like 2009. Yeah. And then stuff after like Cam, and he's still relevant. Cam has had like a 20-year career. I mean, it's still relevant till this day. I think people gonna be really excited to hear the Purple Haze too.
Definitely a legend. Definitely top 50 easily of all time. Like Cam, when you think about his career, I always compare like a lot of these newer rappers to like rappers of like the 2000s. And if you look at those rappers, they had to have like charisma, this and third to kind of stick out. Like these new rappers, they just put music out and just act depressed. And like that works. But like if Cam had social media, like he would be one of them dudes with like 25 million followers. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Because like his personality, like not only was he giving you great music, he made you laugh, you liked him, you wanted to be him. Yeah.
It's another thing with Cam too that people like. How everybody credits Eminem for saying like the craziest, outlandish shit on songs. Cam was doing that like first to me. Like Cam was doing that he did on Confessions of Fire on that album, on that song.
I nigga get the computer's putin'. That's actually
computer's putin'.
That's actually a fact.
Oh man, the computer's putin'. How was that for a chat nigga? Like, how was that hearing those lines?
Hey, man, yo.
Getting computers putin'.
Yeah, getting computers putin', man. Get them girls, fucking classic song.
Well, I'm glad
he says mad random shit, but like, it's just so much sauce dripped with it, bro. It just sounds amazing.
Oh, man.
I'm glad you didn't disappoint Wayno just now.
Yo, he said
No,
SDE.
I thought Wayno was gonna say some bullshit.
I feel like his heart was dropping.
Say SDE?
This nigga Cam really had Beyonce on a song singing about singing coke. I'm just saying. let's really, Is
that when you discovered SDE after when he did Jay and said that?
Now, I really
because SDE was 2000, so I remember you said you came over like what 01-ish.
I'm gonna tell you why I got into SDE, right? Because I became a Cam super fan, like just obsessed with everything. I used to watch even the DVD videos of like him and Jim Jones is fucking around in London, like on YouTube. Yeah. So I kind of went back in all of their discography. Like there's mad joints of Jewels that I really fuck with, Right. But Diplomatic Community, checking out all the like the group shit, and then I got into SD.
Going back,
like Purple Haze, even the song, I think it's a classic. Cam put me on so many. I'm a fan of samples. Like when I hear a sample in a song,
go Google it and find out what it is.
There's mad songs that salute to the Heat Makers as well.
Absolutely.
Salute to Blaze who laced them as well, and even Kanye a couple times. But when he used samples, I would go back and like look up like the artist, and I found artists from that. So like I would just go back in the discography and just listen to mad shit.
Bro, a lot of people give flack, and I can't knock that because like I didn't hear Straight Outta Compton, that album, that NWA album, until I was 21. Cause I wasn't listening. That shit came on like 80. No, my buck, not 80. It came in like early 90s. I can't remember exactly, but like somebody told me to go back and listen to it. So it's like I didn't know like. I knew Ice-T, not Ice-T. I'm bugging. I'm all the way fucking bugging the fuck out. I knew Eazy-E, MC Ren, and all of them because they was putting out their individual efforts during the 90s, but I never listened to a body of work from them with Straight Outta Compton. So it's like 2004 was the first time I actually went back and listened to the album in its entirety. So it's like, that's why I hope like kids, when they get a chance to see us talk about these things, go back. Like it's nothing wrong with learning the history of hip hop,
That's very true. All right. Two classic projects for this week in hip hop. Now moving on to Russ. So earlier this week we talked about the interview he did with Rap Radar. What we talked about was him saying that, you know, legends like DMX and Nicki Minaj, for example, do not get their flowers, although they deserve them. And now he posted a follow-up social clip. It seems like him and Offset have been sort of going back and forth, asking fans to name 7 rappers from the new generation, excluding Kendrick, Drake, and Cole, who can actually sell out Staples Center. Check it out.
Yo, so I got asked a question on Rap Radar, and I said that name 7 rappers of the new generation, excluding Kendrick, Drake, and Cole, that can sell out Staples Center by themselves. Y'all keep naming these fucking rappers who have never done it. I'm not interested in what you fucking think in La La Fantasyland. Name ones that have. Go find it. Look it up. The shows are public. Go look it up by themselves. Do it. Name 7.
All right, so he did sell out the Staples Center before, right? 13,000 people came out to see him on the ICU tour too in 2018. So we have a fan question, is what Russ is saying about rappers who could sell out Staples Center, big facts or BS? I'm saying big facts.
I want to know what the significance to the Staples Center is with selling it out, because it's definitely rappers that have sold more than that. Like I seen, well, let's
I
not
guess he's
say
trying
that.
to specify new generation, so not like a...
Yeah, but I mean, and many people may not know this, but I seen fucking, I don't know how much the FedEx Forum in Memphis holds, but I seen Yo Gotti sell that shit out and rock a show for 2.5 hours. Like I was sitting there like, when is this shit gonna end? Like for real. So I get the whole Staples Center thing, but like I do, but I don't. It's kind of confusing to me. Like, why is it just held to 13,000 at the Staples Center? There's plenty of rappers that can sell more than 13,000 in other places.
Well, I do think, you know, Russ has been on a plight, even though I think more recently he's been getting warmer reception. Like people, you might not like him, but you understand that he's successful, right?
Absolutely.
Like you know, like he'll let people know that he made the Forbes list, and you kind of know, you see the plaques, he's
You
doing
see the
good.
McLarens, you know what I mean? Like,
You see him doing good.
Right.
I think he's still in the place of letting people know that, like, a lot of the current artists that we either compare him to, or not even compare him to, we leave him out of those conversations, he does way better than. And I mean, my first question after hearing him say this is, what's his generation? That's the first thing we got to address. What's his generation, given the fact that I know Cole, Drake, and we lump Kendrick in there, like we call them like one generation, but like Russ is 27, right? Like, is it the rest of the 27-year-old niggas? Or his first album on Columbia, There's a Wolf, came out in 2016. Is that when we're saying anyone who put out an album since then?
Yeah.
Or we're just saying around that age? Because it's a little bit confusing, because I do have a couple names here who I think could do it.
Okay.
But he is right to a certain extent. Also, he's saying this with a cheat code. Russ performs, like, again, I went to a Russ show. There was nobody who just like came out and stage before him. Like, he's the only nigga who walked out. Not even the opener. He didn't bring his homie to like fucking say 2 jokes. Like,
but I think that's what more of why he's saying everything he's saying, because he doesn't bring anybody else to sell a ticket.
yeah, no, but if okay, one of the names I got on here, Post Malone, who's 24,
Right.
dropped his first album 2016.
So at the Garden.
He could do it.
I went to the
right?
Garden.
Went to
Yeah.
the Garden.
Yeah.
Right, and he did the Garden
Twice.
So salute to Russ. Russ did the Garden, the theater, 7,500. I do think, you know, he's really trying to show that he pulls hard tickets, and it's really important. Fans don't really understand it, and the way he does it, it just never comes across good.
This is the thing, I fuck with Russ. I like him as a person. You know what I mean? But a lot of people don't. Like, I like him as a person, and he's a dope artist. But I'm starting to get a little bit of feeling of him dimming others' lights for him to shine. And I don't think he has to do that at all.
Did you guys see the portion of the Rap Radar interview where this came up?
Yeah.
Did they bring up the Staples Center, or did he?
No, he brought it up. No, like
They were just asking him about ticket sales?
Yeah, this was one of the things, like, you know, and he even said it to me when I met him backstage at the Garden. He was like, yo, listen, his mentality has always been, these rappers get hot to go get the bag in the club. They want to go do hostings, and they perform for those little venues. He said he always had a strategy to bypass the smaller bags and start focusing on touring, that he could build up a audience base that at some point he'd be doing what he's doing now. And so he said he turned down a lot of stuff early.
But the thing is with that is, nobody's knocking that. And I think that's a good thing for Russ to do. But I'm not knocking no niggas that could only get people to pay $20 to come see them at the club. You know what I mean? Because while I don't visit the club frequently, I've gone there and seen artists that I've enjoyed. Like, I want to see Black Youngster in the club. Not specifically saying that he's talking about him or nothing like that. I want to see Black Youngster in the club setting. He might not be a Staples Center type artist. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody doesn't have the same type of way about how they do things.
And also, I think this is where I was getting at when I was like, I do believe this is why Offset said what he said. It's like, you know, what, another variable to throw into this, Russ, you're white. Like, you're going to get a lot more people that come out in concert. I'm telling you, I went to Russ concert and it was kind of mixed. Listen, the people at Russ concerts, if you seen them in public, you would never sit there into hip-hop. That's what I would say. Okay. So again, him being Caucasian does kind of help. Right? Not everybody's gonna be everybody's gonna be in that position. And also there's two other people who maybe not the Staples Center, but like even NF, who's a rapper we don't really cover that much, but he sells out huge venues as well.
Right.
Like what other rapper do I think could do it? I think Chance could do it. Is Chance his generation?
Chance, absolutely. But do we consider Anderson .Paak? Anderson .Paak can fucking rap. I think Anderson .Paak can do it. Has he done it?
Migos could do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Tyler the Creator, could he do it? I think he could do
Tyler
it.
could definitely do it.
But I think, you know, Russ he's been touring way before a lot of these artists. And while giving him props for that, I don't have to shit on other people to be like, yeah, he's the only one who did it. What's up with you niggas? If you're not Drake, Kendrick, or Cole, you can't. So I get what he's saying, though, because the people who he's really trying to shit on, like, I know rappers with 10+ million followers who can't pull out 400 people. That's facts in New York. Absolutely. They can't pull out in New York. In LA, they can't pull out over 1,000. And those people, you know.
But I ain't knocking them getting their bread neither. Like, that's the thing. I'm just not knocking niggas getting their money. Like,
let me explain Russ's like point of view. Like, those people, fans hype up online. That's why they have so much followers.
Yeah.
Like, they hype up online like people love it, but people won't come out and buy a ticket. That's why he used to say, y'all care about album sales. I got 2 million followers. I'll sell 80,000. And then your favorite rapper with 12 million followers, he's still selling 40,000.
Right, but this is why I look at him as a more musical person, right? A lot of these kids that we're not naming any names because I can't think of anybody specifically to compare that to, but a lot of them are antics and, you know, how Corday says, hitting the lick to do rap music, right? Russ is a music person. Like, Russ is doing exactly what he's supposed to do. And I don't want Russ to be humble. I ain't gonna lie, like I don't want him to be humble. I think that you should, you know, celebrate the fact that you're doing very well. You should teach people and educate people on how you're actually doing it. But he rubs some people the wrong way when he says it.
And again, that's why I bring up the white factor. That's the only thing. It doesn't work for everybody.
Right,
okay, not everyone could curate the audience that you're curating. And I'm telling you, he said name 7. I got 7 names.
You got 7 names.
The ones you named so far. Okay.
Right. Travis Scott's 27.
Oh.
Travis Scott, I know he's been out a little bit while, but come on,
Travis Scott, absolutely.
So Post Malone, Travis Scott,
okay.
Cardi B just dropped her like a debut not too long ago, right? Same generation. I'm saying the Migos, Chance the Rapper. That's 5. I need 2 more.
2 more.
These ones might be a little bit of a stretch.
All right, 2 more.
21 Savage to the baby. Don't kill me.
What about Uzi?
No, I don't think
he can't do Staples Center.
Uzi does Terminal 5 back-to-back nights. That's about 2,500 people. I do think he could do like between 5,000 to 10,000, but like around, I don't know, maybe he could.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie. I don't know if the baby can do it now, but I think the baby's definitely gonna be able to do it.
Maybe he needs like another album or another year.
Well, he's putting more in. I haven't been to one of his. I've been to like 2 of his shows. I seen him at SOBs earlier this year, and then I saw him in Philly. But now, like that, he's on tour. He's adding more production into his set.
That's why I really was picking him. Not only is like one of the hottest artists like in the world, but like I watched him like perform at Camp Flogger at the festival, and I know it was a festival, so like the people aren't all there to see him, but they're not all there to see him, and he captivated the whole place. Like his performance
into his shit.
Yeah.
His performance is like one of those type of artists that you're saying, hey, he's gonna be around just off how hard he's going to perform. So
Tyler's who you were missing, but I think you mentioned him before.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be a stretch at all.
Tyler in there. So I got my 7.
Okay.
Okay.
Right?
We'll be hearing from Russ soon.
Hey, when Russ goes up the charts and be like, nope, Ak, you're wrong.
That nigga only sold 9,400. Nah, but salute to Russ. I fuck with Russ, man.
All right, so today's Big Facts, or BS, is from Kato on the Track. Producer, he says, some artists sell entertainment, others sell art. Great artists sell both. Speaking of people like Cam, who we've loved for his artistry, his personalities, influence, over the years, Big Facts or BS?
Big facts. Big facts. And I take this to like a quote that Offset said, like I think it was last year when he was like, I'm more than a rapper, I'm an entertainer.
I love it.
Nah, for real,
Quoting Offset now, I love it.
Because he said, but he just recently said something about why he stopped dancing. But Offset could be a fucking pop lock champion. Like this nigga could really dance. But he said that he wanted to incorporate that into what he was doing. It's like, all right, he raps, he dances, he does all types of things. So it's like, yeah, I definitely say big facts for that.
This quote is so great. I actually wish I wrote it. This is
Why you look so mesmerized over there?
It's very true.
Absolutely.
I do think the great ones sell both entertainment and art.
Yeah.
And, I feel like a lot of the rappers that won't be around, they sell the entertainment factor.
Right.
But the art isn't really
Right.
like,
What if you're selling primarily art? What if you're like Frank Ocean or like a Weeknd who drop great music, but then you sort of just
They
did
don't
super
do too
ultra
much
low?
entertaining?
Yeah, or Bryson.
I mean, I think that they should still be, like, if your art outweighs you being an entertainer, then I still think that you're a great, I would take being a great artist over a great entertainer, because there's a lot of people. It's like, I think about basketball. We always got basketball references. Who's a great entertainer? Lance Stevenson, right? Lance Stevenson, pause, but blowing LeBron ear, making a moment that became a meme. Every time he does the three, he does the guitar shit and all of that, right? Great entertainer, but when you start looking at the art of basketball and all of that, he doesn't usually, now he hasn't been able to maintain a career in the NBA. And I think that's because he's better at entertaining than he is at the craft of actual basketball. So I think like it's a lot of different ways to slice it, but I definitely agree with that.
That was a good question. I do think having excellent art could be entertaining. Like, because I can't look at like someone like a Frank Ocean as not being like a great artist because he's not like all that entertaining. I do believe people are entertained by the art. So that's a good question, but I love this quote.
It's true. You pay more attention to the art, because he's so absent all the time. Like everything that he drops, from the color of his hair to how everything people scrutinize a lot more.
I think only the greatest or the great ones could actually only sell art and it be entertaining. Like for everybody else, like usually we're having a conversation of, they're missing that other piece of the pie. It's not only about the music, it's about like, the whole package. But the ones like that, like Frank, like,
hey, listen, people still love the Miseducation Lauryn Hill, but she don't be showing up to shows. Like, like for real.
Don't do my girl Lauren like that.
I love Lauren, but for real though, like, it's great art though. Like they could fucking put the words of Lauren's songs from Miseducation to Lauryn Hill on a paper and you could love it without even hearing it.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that one, Kato on the Track. So good that Akademiks wish he wrote it himself. It's amazing. All right, so today's Heat Check artists are Shoreline Mafia. So the members are OGZ, Phoenix Flexing, Master Kato, Rob Vicious, and they're from LA. Formed the group back in 2016 when they released their breakout song. It's called Musty. The video for that currently has over 60 million views. So they dropped their debut album called Shoreline Do That Shit, which featured the hit Non-Major in late 2017. And a few months later, it was confirmed that they'd signed with Atlantic Records. Their most recent project dropped in September. It's called Party Pack Volume 2. That's a follow-up to their original project, which dropped last summer. What do you guys like about them?
I'm getting a little bit more into the music. I just like their presence, and I like how region-wise they represent where they're from. Like, again, every time I've heard about them before a few months ago, I was, in my mind, I'm like, why do people keep trying to get these dudes on, like, in other regions? Like, I didn't know they were popping. In LA, and when I saw them come out to a show, they're the biggest thing. It's crazy how just universal they are and how impactful, and their music does so well, but it's really kind of like a Cali thing, right? I think when it comes to the East Coast, like they do make good music. I do believe that not all of the members are as recognizable as was
OGZ, yeah.
But they do make some good music, and I think that's probably gonna take some time for the other members to kind of like get in their own. But anything that the West Coast supports, and they support homegrown shit, I always fuck with it. And right now, they got the wave over there.
What I like about them is, as a collective, they're very strong, but they're taking the time to kind of build themselves individually, like kind of on some Wu-Tang shit. You know what I mean? Like Wu-Tang, once they had their breakout, everybody split up, did their own thing, came back together, and they built a career like that. OGZ, of course, he's the Beyonce of the group, right?
He wants to be, okay.
Yeah, OGZ is the Beyonce of the group. But I think that, you know, when I start seeing people from over here, like in New York, like they get love in New York. You know what I mean? Like they did a show in Webster Hall and that shit went up, like I think about a month ago. It went up crazy, like they sold it out. When you could get that type of love in a whole nother region when it's cold and you from Cali, like that's when you really know that you're doing something. So it's like, Shoreline is really dope. I actually interviewed them. Remember when I did Made in America? Mm-hmm. I interviewed them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's ill to see like how far they've come from that moment last year to now. And it's like, it looks like 2020, they're gonna keep going up.
Yeah, every time I talk to someone in the West and like, they always look at me like I'm crazy when I don't mention Shoreline Mafia.
Yeah.
Because like, I be thinking about hip hop like kind of on a national then global level.
Yeah.
More than like regional. And anything regional I think is small.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I see shit bubbling in New York, I'm like, wait till niggas in Texas start fucking with it. Then it's made it. But like, I mean, the West Coast is so big, like to keep it real, they don't even really need other regions. And I just think the other regions catching on is just additional, just like fuel and stuff.
I tell you who the one is the sleeper though, Phoenix. Phoenix is the one that's the sleeper. Like he's the one that, like, after OGs, that's who I like the most.
All right, go check out that project, Party Pack Volume 2, that is out right now. Yesterday we talked about Fabolous and Fab and Casanova joking with Shiggy backstage about not wanting to pay him for his promotional services. So Fab did an interview on Hot 97 and basically wanted to let us know that we wasted our time with that entire debate, that he was just joking. He says it was a play to play with Shiggy. He's a joking person, so you joke back with him. He 100% thinks he should be compensated.
Yeah. Okay, good.
I think it went a little bit, like people took it a little bit further, only because they don't know the dynamic of how they play like that.
Yeah.
Hey, but also I think it's, you know, like just seeing the public like perception of and reaction to shit. Like people are rooting for Shiggy, man. Like they want to see the next step, and you always want to see someone like continue to progress. So, you know, obviously these two have a little rapport, so it wasn't serious between them. But, you know, in the future, you hope people like Shiggy do get compensated by anybody.
Some free promo for him right now. All right, so we know that Lil Uzi been beefing with his label for, I don't know, it feels like over a year now. He's been disrespecting DJ Drama and Don Cannon very publicly. So yesterday, we saw a video clip of Drama dancing to Uzi's new song. So he's doing the Futsal Shuffle Challenge. So we had a fan question. After watching Drama do Uzi's dance challenge, do you think they've patched things up, or is Drama trolling Uzi?
I know for a fact they ain't patched shit up. Nah, I'm just playing. But yeah, he's trolling, man. Like I think you gotta have fun. I even trolled Drama in Ak's comments. Like I wrote Broke Boy Shuffle.
Oh shit.
You know what I mean? Like,
This is the dance you do when you know the check about to hit. Check about to hit. Uzi's making some music. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, Drama's just having fun with it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what can you do? It's not much you can do. So
I mean, this is the best strategy, right? To lean in the jokes.
Like your personality too, you know.
But
like,
respond how? You always say once people think you're bothered, you can never win.
No, but listen, it's the Birdman effect. Like this is what I mean.
Okay.
This is the reason why Birdman pulled up on Charlemagne, because he felt he was kind of putting out and just kind of like vocalizing that, yo, you shouldn't sign to Cash Money because they don't do right business and Birdman's a thief or whatever the case is. And
how did that turn
Birdman,
out?
like, even though he didn't respond appropriately, he was trying to check that. You get me? What I'm saying is that I do believe Uzi is ruining the idea or opinion that most young artists would have of Drama.
But don't you think, so the way Birdman reacted, I don't feel like he changed any minds. It turned into one of the biggest memes of all time. This, at least, you're just going to laugh it off.
He got a radio show, you know, like he could actually discuss like certain stuff that he's allowed to, that is not too much into business, without even also like throwing stones back at Uzi, because I think that's why he does it.
Okay.
Right? Because again, the artist is supposed to be the emotional one, you're the business guy, like whatever, but I do believe it's making the brand of Generation Now look a certain type of way where new artists might be like, damn, Uzi been telling us for years, and these kids are growing up listening to Uzi. Uzi been telling for years, don't sign with you. Why would I sign with you?
I just hate the fact that like the artist is the only emotional person. People have emotions, yo. Like you know what's crazy? It's like you can't. A person can say all types of shit about you. They could get up in the morning, they could jump in your mentions, they could jump in your comments, they could see you and say shit from afar, everything. But as soon as you react, now you're wrong.
Yep.
You know, like I just hate that.
Hey, I did get a little bit more clarification.
Oh, I want to know what clarification you got.
80% because everybody
It's a
was like,
fucking
yo,
lie.
hey, no, well, listen. This is how an artist sees it as 80%, right? You get signed to a motherfucker, say it's a 50-50, right? Which is a 50-50 partnership, like you signed a production deal. It's 50-50, fine.
Not all production deals are 50-50.
No, but we're gonna assume.
Okay.
We're gonna assume it's a 50-50. But then you give him a manager, and I think this is where probably, you know, Uzi, that's why he's rebelling against everybody in Generation Now, or like everybody that was around him before. He's calling them old heads and just kind of
Who's his old head now, according to his stats?
You're right. According, he said after 25, you old as a motherfucker.
Right.
He is 25.
Right.
But if you, say it's 50-50 already, right?
Okay.
And then they give you a manager. Now that manager taking 20% of what you make. Then I think, and you could probably identify with this. Like if you sign an artist, you find an artist. This is why sometimes you may want to suggest certain shit, but make them make their own decision or let them ask other people. Because after a while, when shit goes wrong, they're going to be like, well, Wayno gave me my manager who's taking 20%. He gave me my lawyer who's taking 5%. And shit, in their case at first, Drama's the DJ. Like, yo, after a while, it was like you're surrounded by Generation Now. So when you see the top money that comes in, oh, Atlantic just paid $5 million? Where my shit at? You'd be like, no, get broken down here, here.
Okay, so this is where the 80-20 came up. You're just adding up all the money he has to pay to different people in the camp.
Ak got his own conspiracy theory. That's not what's going on.
Hey,
That's not what's going on. I'm just saying, bro. Like, all
I mean,
right.
part of it's conspiracy theory, but part of it's like perception. Like that's how artists perceive the shit.
Well, artists should always know that you have to have a lawyer, no matter who gives you your lawyer. Like I argue with my artist's lawyer about my shit with them. Like that's their lawyer. Even though I've hired majority of my artists, I've hired their lawyers. They don't do shit favorable to me in the end. They like, yo, I gotta protect him, even though we cool.
Yeah.
This don't got nothing to do with us being cool. They gotta give the fairest deal for them. For me, I just all believe in being fair. I just think that this shit is simple. We trying to figure out this number, that number, this, that. You know what it is? Uzi
Man,
just...
yo, Wayno got a consultant role with Generation Now.
I don't, man.
Wayno got that twinkle in his eye, be like, yo, let the finesse happen.
No, I'm not done for that happen. No, but I'm not gonna pretend like DJ Drama, Don Cannon, and them. They my real friends. You know what I mean? I don't make no money with them. They're my friends though. But go ahead.
Let me ask you a question, right? But you don't see how possibly it could have been problematic if, okay, I got Uzi starting to be successful. They were managing him. They also signed him.
Yeah.
Like, they've set up everything for him, right? And it's all still connected to Generation Now. So he's not looking at it like, oh, okay, we have this relationship, you're doing this for me. He's looking at it like, this is just y'all, and then there's me.
Yeah.
You get me? You can see how, and again, artists are never the most educated in business. We all know. Right. We talked about 6ix9ine, we talked about Pump, we even talk about, and now even Uzi.
Right.
You could understand how, again, whether he ran through his money and now he's looking at everybody else, or maybe he just started looking like, wait. A $20 million check got cut? Y'all niggas should only get like 3 to give me the rest of the 17, which that's an incorrect thinking.
3, they gonna be like, man, you should get 100,000. Like, but this the thing, Ak. Like, I just feel like artists, and I've seen it happen so many times, they just get tired of, they get tired of their situations, yo. Like, they get tired of their situations, no matter how much you're doing for a person. Dame Dash told me one time, he said, find something else you're gonna do with this music shit, because you can help a motherfucker make $10 million and they'll tell you that you ain't never did nothing for him. You know what I mean? And that's just how it goes, man. Like, it just goes that way. And it's not particular to any one of my situations that I have that people know about or other shit. It just happens, yo. Like, artists, one day they get up and they be like, I don't want to work with this motherfucker no more. He making too much money. They do. They start counting everybody else shit. Like, damn, this nigga got the same car as me? Shit, let me get another car. He got another car? Nah, he getting too much. We got to regroup. And I'm not saying that's directly Uzi shit. I'm giving both of them the benefit of the doubt because I got love for Uzi. I just think that he just don't want to work with them no more. That's all it is.
And that's a very fair point, and probably even is even that. I know I spoke to a
Reliable source?
No. I can say
No,
I won't drop. I don't want to drop people's names because they actually have real job titles, and if they really want to say it, was just tweet.
No. We don't ever want you to do that. Just
And-
clarify conspiracy or verifiable source.
No. What I heard before, that's actually a person, verifiable.
Okay.
This other person's another. It's not a source. This is his situation, but this is another artist on that label who privately they said to me, "Ak, I went through the same thing. I just don't deal with it like Uzi." Now they did take a year off making music, but they're like, when I got like signed this and third, a lot of shit was fucked up. I didn't know at the time. I had a hit song, shit is popping, but I get to find out later that the production company I signed to fucked me over in a lot of ways. Because the lawyer that they gave me were looking out more for their interests than mine. Which that's really
that could be a problem.
So again, you know, like this is the music business, you know, and of course there's a lot of give and take, and you just hope that over a long career, artists don't feel like they just got jerked to the point like they either don't want to do music, or sometimes like some of these conversations, these artists do feel so taken advantage of. They're like, hey, if we weren't in this business, like we do something about it. Like it's at that point. But you know, again, we don't
know all of the details, but I feel like all we could take away from this now, after all of that said, maybe just find an independent lawyer if you're signing a deal. Is that possible? Does anyone give you a hard time? Like, just don't take the lawyer they're offering you if you feel like that could be a conflict.
I usually give artists like I'll give them at least like 2 or 3, right?
So you got options. You're not just
Listen, I just did an artist I signed. I gave them a lawyer. And this is my friend. She fucking did not cut no breaks when I did his deal. Like, did not give me no breaks or nothing. But the thing is like, yeah, I'm going to give my homegirl an alley-oop. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to give her an alley-oop. But she's also going to be fair with me and the company as to what she wants for the client. Because end of the day, it's like, this is an artist that I signed to Asylum. This wasn't like somebody I signed to me. She's like, yo, I got to look at for their best interest. You're not going to be there forever. So I got to look at for their best interest even though you're there. So you can get whoever you want, but you know, you like who you like. That's how that shit goes.
Find a good lawyer.
And the next thing is that Rock Nation element, right?
Okay,
no, I'm serious.
That's a whole nother 10 minutes.
My conspiracy theory makes sense. Who was managing before Rock Nation? See, when he gets on Rock Nation now, I think now he's realizing about having different, like, outside people kind of like having interest in your career than maybe just being connected to one group.
Okay, lastly, I'll say this, because Ak always brings this up about other artists, right? Because we just said it about Roddy Ricch dropping multiple singles before his album drops. Uzi's dropped how many singles this year?
I would say 2. Sanguine,
the other one,
Paradise,
and then Free
That's
Uzi.
a Rack.
Free
Uzi is not on DSPs.
All right, it's not on DSPs. Did Futsal footwear come out yet?
This is
But I don't know.
Futsal shop.
Okay.
I don't see it
Did it
streaming
come out
yet.
yet?
Did it come out yet?
No.
Okay.
And the other 2, they really got dropped because it was leaked, or maybe they were really supposed to be singles, but they were leaked.
Right.
But this is about to be the first single, and I would imagine that the album is coming out very soon.
I hope it's coming out very soon because that's the next conversation we need to start having as the music. How do we feel about the music more than all these legalities and all these other problems? The music has to speak louder than all of that other shit.
That is a conversation for another day, but yeah, maybe he's lacking one. I don't know.
Let's
Talk
see.
about it.
Let's see.
Wow. All right. Let's see. Album coming soon, allegedly. Guys, that is our show for the day. I mean, you sound very confident that it's coming really soon. Hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you here next week. It's going to be our last week before the break. Look out for the Everyday Struggle Awards.
Break!
Bye.